All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, fishing accomplices, good morning and welcome back to fishing. So we are in June now. It is June 9th, and yeah, we're gonna try and do some fishing today. Sorry for missing last week. I did try fishing, tried to do something a little different. It had mixed results, but nothing I was really looking to spend all the time to edit video for. Originally the plan today was to do what I did last week, which was try and go into Western Connecticut to fish for some sea bass and striped bass and potentially some fluke in the shallows, but today's wind forecast kind of shot that down for the way I would go about it. I don't really want to put all that energy into basically just be blown off the water, so we are going back down to the South Shore. We're going to fish the bay, and really we're just looking for fluke today. I'm hoping to get on a few keepers to take home, maybe one or two. Right now my freezer's broken, so anything more than two would be pointless. I'm hoping just to have a good time. I'm having a great fishing day in a couple weeks now, so hoping to have a nice time in the water. Wind, even with the wind being what it's going to be whipping out of the west, I think, as we get into like mid-morning. We're gonna be getting a dead low tide. It's gonna start rising. So not my favorite tide for where I'm going right now, but we'll figure something out. And hopefully that you get to stick around to see it, because you know what we're about to do, folks. Get some fishing accomplished. All right, it was a real struggle getting in the water, dead low tide, and all the seaweed and line getting wrapped around my trolling motor. It happened like 3 times. But regardless, we're in now, so we're gonna try and make the most of it. This wasn't my first choice for this morning, but we certainly can do some really good stuff here, as I have in the past this time of year. So we're gonna start by just casting a really wide net. Like I said, dead low tide, and I don't think we have much movement for the next hour. But that doesn't mean there's no fish around, so I'm just gonna fish a gulp rub on a jig head. This is a 1/2 ounce. That's what I want to start with, and then decide what I want to do from there. If there's anything around, they should be interested in hitting this. So it's a pretty mangled up piece, but I think it should suffice. 1/2 ounce JYG jig head. These are pretty solid. And we're just going to jig this along contours and some structure and hopefully find something. All right, first drop, about 20 feet of water. Looks like there's some good bait down there, right in the contour. See what we can do. Something down there. Doesn't feel terribly big. See if it comes back. He might have ruined that gulp. Definitely got a hit on that last drift. And there's definitely some bait here, which is good. Water clarity is terrible, but that hasn't stopped fish from biting here. Just got to be very thorough and patient. This tide sucks though. There we go, finally. It's a fluke. Today, but if we get a keeper, we'll keep them. Yeah, that's a keeper. That's definitely a keeper. Can't see them. Jeez. Water's so poor quality. Nice fish. Indeed, we'll take you. Let's get out of here. Let's see this one. Very nice fish.
that's a wrap for him. That's all I'm really looking to keep is maybe one, possibly two. But that fish should be enough by himself. About 22. 24, 23, just about 22 inches, so not too bad. All right, it's taken a while. We finally caught something. Got this nice little fluke. Yeah, just a single jig with gulp. Just dropping it along, jigging it along. It's not been a hot bite. Got a few bites right from the get-go this morning, and then nothing for a good 45 minutes. And we've been moving around. That fish was laying right on a contour in about 20 feet of water. So let's see if we can get another one. While this fishing might be a bit tough, I definitely think I made the right call not fishing the sound, because this wind would have been a nightmare with what I was planning to do. So I think I made the right call for today. Let's just see if we can maybe capitalize and get a few more fish. There it is. It's another fluke. Not nearly as big, but at least we're on something. A lot worse. Feels a bit better. What is this? Is this a fluke? Doesn't feel like a fluke. It's been fouled. Hit like a fluke. Not fighting like a fluke. Bluefish. Jeez. What was it to say? This does not feel like a fluke. I don't want to get bit. I don't want to lose my gear. Easy, easy, easy. Good as it can get. All right, let's try this again. That was definitely the best drift of the day so far. We got that bluefish, a short fluke, and something bit the tail off afterwards. So got some kind of pattern going. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If we can get on a more consistent bite, we'll consider doing something other than gulp, because I don't want to burn through all the stuff I have, especially if we found some active fish. But this wind is kind of nasty, and I don't want to push the envelope too much today, so if we can just get our fish and go home, I'm all for it. But we'll keep going as long as it's good and we're having a fun time. It's not dangerous. Oh, come on, that was stupid. Why did I just set the hook so fast? Come back. Oh yeah. Better fish. It's huge. Not bad. He's not that big. Probably like a 17.5 incher. Not bad. All right, definitely seems like a lot of these fish are hanging out in contours. Got a half decent shore doing that. Still fairly slow. I mean, it's dead low tide, but I'm gonna take a little breather. I think you know what time it is. It's been a while. You hear it. This is time for our seltzer review of the day. And this technically isn't a seltzer. It's Dr. D's Sparkling Probiotic Drink. I got this one because I don't usually have apple flavored things, crisp apple. So it's kind of like a cider type deal, apple juice maybe even, but not bad. I wouldn't call it a seltzer. It's very little sugar, but I'd give that probably like an 8.6. If it was a seltzer, probably give it a little higher score, but I'm hoping this fishing session gets a higher score as we continue. It's still early. It's not even 8:30 yet, but let's see if we can get on some better action. Okay, I know I gave this initially a 8.6, but this kind of has like an aftertaste that I'm not a huge fan of. It's like almost metallic, for lack of a better term, like charcoaly, I guess. For that reason, I'm going to revise my score. Rather than 8.6, I'm going to give this a 7.9. Certainly serviceable, but I don't think I gravitate towards this again. Additionally, this was a single can, at least $2.50, so a bit more expensive than your average run-of-the-mill seltzer. And again, it's not a seltzer, it's some kind of probiotic drink, but serviceable, but I don't think I'd get it again, but take it or leave it. Let's try again. Another baby cloth. As promised. Man, this rain is right on schedule. They said it'd be raining at 8, 9 o'clock, and here we are. Hoping it's not steady, but whatever, we're here. Do the best we can. If we get tired of it, we'll just get out. We're not far from launch.
Yeah, so as you can probably tell, as the morning progressed, the weather just got worse and worse in terms of, off and on rain and the wind jacking up. Again, it was very good that I was in the back bay, because otherwise this would have been really tough. And it wasn't easy. I stuck with Gulp just because I didn't really have it in me to keep reapplying ProCure when, I'm having to dodge waves and things like that. So I just kept it as simple as possible. The fortunate thing, however, was the fish were definitely biting. Once that tide really started to move in, it was just nonstop, every single drift, at least one, if not multiple hits and catching fish. The problem was that most of the fish were very, very small. There were some decent ones mixed in, but you really had to wade through the smaller stuff to get to them. But it was worth it if you kept sticking it out. But that being said, I was having quite a few challenges. One thing that I will comment on shortly is that I guess I forgot to charge my fish finder battery for this session. So while catching fish one after another, I decided not to really explore much, A, because the fish finder battery, and B, just because it was a lot of work having to deal with all this chop. But we persisted, and fortunately we got in some good action. But yeah, my fish finder battery died. It's the one thing I forgot to charge this week. Go figure. Fortunately, I'm fishing in an area where there's enough visual landmarks for me to figure out the drift I really want. But yeah, these fish are piled up. They're just all tiny, so I'm holding out that there might be a few keepers mixed in. I mean, the first one we got was an easy keeper, and then a few shorts that were approaching. But you never know. I mean, it's good right now. A lot of these fish are just tiny. But I won't be able to fish for another 5 or 6 days, so we might as well just try and give it everything we got. If this is as bad as it gets for like the next hour, I can deal with this, but if it gets much worse, we gotta get out. Okay, so this is going to be one of the things that I remember this trip for more than anything else, and it's not necessarily a good thing, but keep your ears open for a loud thud and what quickly follows it.
happened to my net. I don't know what it was, and of course I hook a nice fish. Yeah, of course. Barely hooked. I'm gonna go for it. Might be a keeper. It's close. Just barely touching 19. But you know what? Since my freezer is out of commission, we're gonna throw them back. Nice fish though. I don't know what just happened to my net. I don't know if it wasn't fully in here, but it just went overboard. Felt like something hit it. I don't know what the hell happened, but it's gone now. Okay, I just got a fluke that was like technically 19 inches, but it was right on the line, so we threw him back. And I'm really flirting with disaster right now because I don't know what happened, but my net just fell out of the rod holder and went overboard. So if we get something huge, we are not in a very good place. But we'll see what we can do. But I'll give this like another 30 minutes. This might be a good one. It's biting weird, but I don't think this is a fluke. It's a bluefish. Is it a weak fish? Yeah, it's a weak fish. Huh. He just snapped me off. Oh well. That's a bummer. It wasn't huge. Alright, just had a nice weak fish snap us off. The line was probably still frayed a bit from that bluefish earlier, but whatever. It is what it is. I wouldn't have kept it. I'm just hoping it shakes the hook eventually. They typically find a way to do it, so let's fish a little longer. Bite's still happening, and tide is slowing down. Sometimes it's the best time to try and get a larger fish. So I'm going to have my work cut out to me to land set fish if it comes down to it. These fish are getting better. Huge, but it's leaps and bounds better than we were doing this morning, early this morning. Alright, tide is pretty much slack. Bite is definitely dwindling. This might be the last drift. We'll see. If we get some action, we'll continue to fish a bit more, but otherwise we're at the tail end of this session. And probably not a moment too soon. This is getting nasty again. Had some détente in the nastiness, but it seems like we're all in with this wind now. We're gonna do without a net, but sure. That's a good fish. Decent fish. I don't think he's big. Nah, he's not that big. Not that small, but let's at least get him on the side that we can. 17 inches. Good one. This is bad news. Bad news without a net. It's a big fish. And he's gone. Whatever. lost a really nice fish in the last clip. Didn't see it, but it felt very big. And I know this probably won't end well if we get him without the net, but it's worth a try. Worst case scenario, I can try and drag him to shore and then call it a day. So let's try again. Spot. That's a legal fish. We're gonna chance it. Just be stupid. No net, folks. Not being a total coup. Alright. That one's definitely a keeper. No doubt. It's not as big as that one we dropped, probably, but it's about 20, just a little hair under. Sure. Alright, so yeah, that was definitely a bit of a messy one today. I'm not gonna lie. As a teacher, you know, if this was like 2 or 3 weeks from now, I wouldn't have bothered fishing today with this wind and rain forecast. But, you know, right now I don't have the luxury of being picky and choosy about the days I fish. It's either I go or I don't, and I wait another week. So overall, I'm happy I went. It's unfortunate about the net. You know, that's going to be the big thing I remember about this day. Never mind the plane. But yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I've had that net for over 5 years now. It's starting to rust out, so I guess it's time to replace it, but definitely an inopportune time. I'm really still not sure what the hell happened. If something flew into it, like a seagull or tern or something. I felt like, you know, something disrupted the boat for a sec, or maybe it just wasn't fully in the rod holder.
Yeah, from this point on, the wind noise just gets out of hand, so I'll just summarize what I'm saying here. The bite was interesting because I don't generally do too well in this area during incoming tide, but it was a pretty consistent bite of mainly small fish when that tide was moving. The best size fish that we encountered on this day was during the bookends of the tide. When the tide was moving slow in the beginning, when it was dead low and rising, and then when the tide was peaked and pretty much stand still at the end. Outside of those two bookends, it was mainly a lot of small fish in the middle. So just something interesting to consider. I know the spot fish as well this time of year, but I found that part to be particularly interesting. And yeah, we dragged the gulp. It was probably the best shot I really had on a day like today when it was so nasty out. But thanks for watching as always. I'll catch you in the next one. Of course, goodbye from fishing.